Good evening, everybody. My name is Tony Pennica. I am a father, a husband, and a patriotic American. During the pandemic, I started making Facebook live videos and try to get information out there to people that maybe don't search it out and were just watching the mainstream news in order to figure out what was going on. It was more to help me cope. It was like a coping mechanism, and it got pretty big. Like you've seen a lot of people now come out of this pandemic and out of everything that's happened, an attack against our republic, more involved in doing these videos to get information out. Now, there are big news outlets that all patriots listen to, Blaze, Breitbart, Alex Jones, Mike Adams. I listen to everybody. I watch the regular news and I read. I don't really watch the regular news so much as get the other side of the story to compare it to what is the truth. So, in my little vignette saying what my first episode was going to be on, it was about the Lahaina children that we've all heard on these videos that we all end up scrolling through at night, which I think is just absurd. I do it myself. I catch myself and I stop. But we've been seeing on these videos about, all kinds of stuff. Directed energy weapon, lasers, this and that. I'm not going to talk about that right now because it's been so saturated. But do you see how fast that this tragedy and this unexplained event, especially the missing children, and the fact that the police wouldn't let people leave the burning neighborhood and the whole deal. What about these missing children? What about if it was our kids? What is going on here? So I tried and reached out over the last couple days, a few different outlets in Maui. I reached out to a Miss Mahina Martin. She is the Director of Public Affairs for Maui. And she wouldn't comment and said due to the sensitive nature, she wouldn't elaborate on that situation. I also reached out to, I called 2 hotels and tried to speak to like the clerk or the hotel manager, try to hey, listen, do you live there? Hey, can you tell me anything about it? And eerily silent. One said, I had no idea what you're talking about. And then hung up. I'm not done with that, okay? I want to know the truth. I don't, what, and it also makes me angry is even these people that that you trust, like listening to Alex or even Fox News or any, you just forget about the supposedly hundreds or in some cases 1,000 or more missing children. You just glaze over it and it's no longer even an issue. So that's where that went. I was very disappointed and I wish I had more information for you. But I'm going to keep at it and in my next broadcast hopefully have an update. So I guess we just have to pray to God that those children are safe or at peace. I'm going to move on now. Something really came out today that was disturbing. This was the trans shooter in Nashville. Now, if we all remember when that trans shooter went to the school, she was supposedly a right-wing extremist, right? That was the story. But now today, Steven Crowder pushed out her manifesto. And at first they dismissed it as conspiracy theory. But now they're looking to press charges on the truth. Can we go to that video? Take a look at this. If you need any more.
7 minutes away. Can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm ready. I hope my victims aren't. My only fear is if anything goes wrong, I'll do my best to prevent any of the sort. God, let my wrath take over my anxiety. It might be 10 minutes tops. It might be 3 to 7. It's gonna go quick. I hope I have a high death count. Ready to die. Ha ha. Signed, Aiden. Next page. Audrey. Kill those kids. 3 exclamation points. Those crackers. Going to private fancy schools with those fancy khakis and sports backpacks with their daddies, Mustangs, and convertibles. You little I wish to shoot you weak-ass dicks with your mop yellow hair. Wanna kill all you little crackers. Again. Bunch of little faggots with your white privileges. You faggots.
So
then we have the schedule.
Does that
Death
sound
6:30 design
like a right-wing extremist to you? That sounds like a person that is mentally deranged, okay? That sounds like a child who the parents just let get lost in this lunacy that is the transgender, what would you call it? Madness? It just, to me, how can information like this be suppressed for so long? You know, and then you say, well, look how far along it comes out. And you know what will happen? Nobody in this country is going to give two you-know-whats about that because we're too busy watching football, right? We're too busy getting drunk or eating McDonald's. I know not all of us. I know good people that just have no idea what's going on right now. But I'm trying to communicate at look at me. I'm sitting in front of with bare minimum. So I'm really just trying to get you out information to the point. So that trans shooter, we now know for 100%, was obviously a Democratic operative with a mental problem and wanted to kill the innocents, which all Satanists want to kill the children. They need to destroy innocence. And my heart goes out to the parents of those lost children. Okay, so next, this is something that really didn't shake me up, but I listened to Joe Rogan the other day, and I'm very selective with my time. I don't have a lot of time to sit there, and I don't watch sitcoms. Me and my wife, we watch very minimal TV. So whatever I do intake, I need it to be something that makes me smarter. I read the scripture. I listen to Pastor David Langford, at night, Steve Quayle. So Joe Rogan, when he has a guest on that I feel is important or that I would relate to or get something of value out of, I'll watch it. I love Joe Rogan, okay, but time. But he had Tim Kennedy on now. For people that don't know, Tim Kennedy is a Green Beret, active, UFC fighter, retired, a father and a husband, a serious individual. Over the last 4 years, he's been a part of the Afghanistan withdrawal to save Americans, in the Ukraine, at the Mexican border, and he was just there October 7th, which we'll touch on in a few minutes. But he talked about our situation at the border, especially with what's going on with Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, and the rabbit hole that our captured government is leading us into. Let's go to Tim Kennedy and what he has to say
Once
about
people are here and they cross over, there's not a real screening process in terms of like who's a criminal, what your history is in your country of origin.
Yeah, you want to get a weird Google thing. Google how many known people on the terror watch list have made it across. And it'll scare the crap out of you. So Department of Homeland Security and the FBI, we have these gigantic lists of people that are on terror watch lists, criminal watch lists, and the number of those that we have captured at the border obviously is just going to be a drop in a bucket of those that have made it across. And, it is in light of what just happened in Israel, where, they flew paragliders over borders, over walls, and they crashed through walls, and then they were able to kill 1,400 people in one day. And then you look at the number, and that was 1,000 insurgents total. And then you look at the number of people that have been coming over the border for the past 3 years that we know are radicalized, that we know are on watch lists. It should scare the pants, like just scare you to death. The position that we're at.
So that
we're gonna have a real bad year.
So that
God damn it.
Yeah.
is coming from Tim Kennedy, a Green Beret, someone who is pretty much a trained assassin. Now, when you hear it, and remember, active. So this is not the guy that's been retired for 25 years and now he's putting his 2 cents in on the #1 podcast in the world. He's telling you what's going on. He's giving you HUMAT, human intelligence, from a reliable source. This is what kills me about people that want to say, that'll never happen. No, that's not bad. Look at New York, California, Chicago, Baltimore. I mean, these cities are crumbling from the amount of illegal immigration, illegal terrorists, the drugs and the human trafficking. It blows my mind. And how, and I'm hoping Democrats watch this. We really got to start reaching out across the aisle to come together. I'm not talking about the loony bins that you can't talk to. I'm talking about the Kennedy Democrats or even some of the moderates, maybe even the far lefts that have some sort of identity left as an American. You can support what's going on right now with your party and what they're pushing. And listen, rhinos are no better. Okay, the rhino Republicans are no better. So I'm not making an excuse for them. But he touched on Israel. And I want to put my opinion on this to everybody that sees what's going on. Again, the left, gay, trans, out there with your signs. Do you know what happens to a homosexual if you walk through the streets of Gaza? You'd be thrown off a roof in 2 minutes. But yet you're parading around supporting murderers. Okay? Let's not forget that these Hamas flew across the border and engaged with the IDF and killed civilians. Okay? And in that interview, I can't play a lot of the interview, obviously. I can only play fair use. But in the interview that I watched with Tim Kennedy, he said he saw the babies burnt in the kibbutzes. Okay? He's seen the dead women. He says, so don't believe this when you think it's just propaganda. So now we're supposed to get mad at Israel because they want to retaliate. I want peace. Okay? So I can't blame Israel. And the thought of this, okay, and this is to all us patriot right wings that watch everything. Hey guys, Netanyahu was in the IDF. Okay, he was a military soldier for Israel. His brother died in combat. You're going to sit here and say that a political officer of Israel would let this happen just to have a broader war? I think it would be done, but not by the politicians in Israel. Okay, they care too much about the soldiers. That's why they use a lot of air campaigning, so they don't have to bring the soldiers in to fight in close quarters and have high casualty rates. Okay, so were they incompetent that day, and did they caught with flat-footed? Yes. Yeah. Israel, the IDF lost on October 7th, and civilians paid for it. So let's not sit there and say, but then people going around supporting Hamas and Palestine. I don't want to see children and women and people die, but let me tell you something about the Palestinians. Out of 22 Muslim countries, not one of them will take the refugees. Not one. Find out for yourself why that is. Okay? It's, here's a news flash. The Muslim religion is not one of peace. Are there peaceful Muslims? Yes. And that's all I have to say about that. Stop just chomping on the bit with this situation and get educated and do your own research to find out exactly what's going on. But it could possibly lead us into World War III, in case you haven't noticed. And we're going to move on for that. So I'm going to touch on the Ukraine real quick, which is fizzling out, right? Nobody wants the Ukraine anymore. Now, of course, all the lefties and everything want, and warmongering Republicans need to throw billions of dollars towards Israel to further get us into a big mess. But I guess Zelensky is getting desperate and decided to start reaching out across the aisle to Trump. Let's hear what Zelensky had to say.
Trump said that about 24 hours that he can manage it and finish the war. For me, what can I say? So he's very welcome, first of all. President Biden was here and I think he understood some details which you can understand only being here. So I invite President Trump, if he can come here, I will need 24 minutes. Yes, 24 minutes, not more. Yes, not more, 24 minutes to explain President Trump that he can't manage this war. He can't bring peace because of the Putin. But always we have if he is not trying and if he is not ready to give our territory for this terrible man, for the Putin.
Okay, so sorry about the video. It was a little bit choppy. But in what he was saying is, Zelensky realizes he's not getting any more money to launder, okay? So he's panicking. And Trump's talking about if he gets in, he'll have peace right away. So Zelensky's trying to how better to keep the Ukraine conflict, because they've lost. You have to understand that. Keep the Ukraine war in the news. Well, first he put the stunt in by going to visit Netanyahu, and now he's asking probably the most popular person in our country, for sure, a recognizable person in the world, to come over to Ukraine to get it back in the news. Okay, last but not least, we all remember a few weeks back the emergency alert system test that the Department of Homeland Security did on every device in every corner of our country. Okay? And woe was the conspiracy theories flying then, which, remember, is a term that the CIA invented to deflect from the truth. Okay, because it's not conspiracy theory, it's conspiracy fact. And what do I mean by that? Todd Callender, a lawyer for the ex-lawyer for the Defense Department, did a FOIA request, and in the FOIA request, it asked if the 5G radiation had any effect on the human biological system, i.e., your DNA and your blood and all that. There was like, I don't know, 70 side effects. But what really happened that day, and which blew my mind, my wife, for the first time ever, probably a week or so after, maybe less, got an extreme case of vertigo. I mean, for a month now. I say, okay, well, everybody gets vertigo, right? It happens. Okay. But now, as we were looking into this, like, we had to go to the emergency walk-in. We talked to people in the medical field, friends, my hair cutter. Everybody we spoke to knew somebody and or heard about somebody having vertigo. Okay? I don't know if you can you comment on the Rumble?
I think so.
Okay. So I'm asking anybody who sees this video, because like I said, I'm just starting. And as we go, hopefully it'll spark some interest. In the comments, if you've heard about this vertigo situation, know somebody, heard about somebody, or knew a bunch of people, put it in the comments for me. And the next show, if they have a lot of response, it'll back up what I've seen and my family have seen with that. So last but not least, I want to end on a positive note. So I'm going to try to have at the end of each show a prep item that you and your family can do for emergency. Okay? An emergency doesn't have to be one that's, life-threatening. It could be something that happens just in a regular day. So this here is, I got it for Christmas a few years ago. This is a first aid kit. Okay, that can also be a little backpack, but it's pretty small. You could take it to your kids' soccer games, football games, camping, you name it. I mean, and it is packed. I think we probably paid, what did we pay for this? Can't remember. Okay. Probably somewhere around $50, $30 to $50. But it has everything in it you need. Very important to have a first aid kit with you in your car, at the home, or when you travel, or you go to a sporting event for your kids and stuff like that. You never know when you can use it. So just something that you can purchase. I mean, they're as low as $20, but good to have. And I'm going to close by saying, I plan on doing reports on stuff that nobody else wants to talk about or has forgotten about, on different perspectives, so that us as fathers and husbands and regular people can understand and don't have to scroll through a million different distractions at night or hear from a friend. I'll be able to offer my analysis with a slight opinion, but then show you the headline. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. I want to say thank you for listening. May God bless you, and God bless America.